Hello friends, this is Scott, and we're down here at the homestead. And anybody that's followed my channel or knows me very well, they know that I've really loved keeping chickens, and I've had them for many, many years. I had them mostly in an urban setting, but since we bought the homestead last year, I built a coop and a pen, and I brought my chickens, my 4 remaining chickens down, and then I had a couple die. And so I had 2 of the old ones, and then I had a friend give me 4 new ones. And so they're all doing wonderfully down here at the homestead. And we can all just kind of hang out. And I'm just going to show you also in this video that there's proof that the cats and the chickens, mature cats, mature chickens, there's no issues. Once in a while the chickens will peck at the cats, but they're stress-free. I mean, literally. And I'm going to show you every cat I got. I got 4 cats, and I'll show with some interactions with the chickens. But good thing about letting the chickens out in the fall is, they go after the bugs, and anywhere there's bare dirt, they do some digging, which is a pro and a con. But they do produce tasty eggs when they get all that protein and all that organic life. There's Willow, and again, lots of stress between the cat and the chickens. It looks like so. Yeah, there's further proof there, but yeah, they ignore each other. They don't even bother each other. But again, I would not put mature cats with immature chickens. That would be definitely a problem. But these big hens, they can take care of themselves pretty well. Never had a cat ever attack a mature hen ever. So. Yeah, but the chickens are great to have out. But again, I don't let them out early in the year because when the garden is small, they will destroy your garden. But when the crops mature from midsummer on, I have more issues with insects, and I need their help because like last year, we had terrible earwigs and grasshoppers were just horrendous. And again, this year was overall down with those types of insects. But these chickens are out literally all day long. I'll let them out in the morning, and they'll put themselves back to bed at night, and I'll shut them up, and they're safe over the evening. So they're out, and they can do pretty much whatever they want. But again, there is some consequences when you let chickens in your garden. But I think at this point in time of the year, going into fall, late summer, early fall, I think there's a lot more benefits. I don't think I've seen a grasshopper in the last few weeks. These chickens are literally staying in the yard. They don't leave. They patrol the whole yard. They've found a way to get into where my tomatoes are behind a gate. And so they haven't figured out what tomatoes are to eat yet. But, you need to, shore up some fencing a little bit because if they get in there, they're gonna destroy what little tomato crop I have this year. But there's a second planting of corn, as you see here. That's where Willow is taking a nap, and that's almost ready to pick. And there is some silk on the cobs because the chickens have eaten the grasshoppers. And in the first planting, the grasshoppers, just like last year, they ate the silk. Luckily, the crop was pollinated before they ate the silk, but there's a little silk missing. But I think these chickens have pretty much annihilated my bug pressure in the back. And also down here at the homestead, we have harmful spiders. Also, we have hobos and black widows and those types of spiders. So these chickens will help with that. But here's the negative aspect: is they're messy, and they get in there, and that was the first planting of corn. They just kicked the bark out, and this is over by the raspberry bed. And again, they're not causing damage. They're just making a mess. But I will have to go back through here and make a chore out of raking all this material up. Haven't installed edging here. Hopefully that'll be a project I get done by the end of the year. But even if there was edging, these chickens would still kick all this stuff out. But they're really happy chickens. I mean, people think that the farm raised chickens and laying chickens are treated not very well. My chickens love it. They're happy. It's seventh heaven here. They're living in the best of times. They've got tons to eat, got tons of freedom, and they just do their thing. And again, it's just up to me to follow behind them and fix some of their little boo-boos that they do in my yard. But in an urban setting, when I had a lot of flowers and things, they would permanently damage some things. But I'm doing mostly a lot of annual vegetables, and these are perennials like the raspberries. They're not going to hurt the raspberries at all. They'll just get in there and kick, eat some bugs and hopefully get rid of some of the harmful ones. But again, there's another kitty. That's a thing, and she's the smallest of the cats, and she's just again, she's definitely not a threat to these adult chickens. But usually there's grasshoppers jumping through this section of the yard, and I don't see any because the chickens have been through here also. But they spend most of their time in my main part of my garden. And there's some tomatillos there. They're probably tearing up a little bit. They're probably eating some of them or damaging some of them. And the brassicas, there's still some shoots of broccoli on there, but everything else is, I've already picked all the crops, so I'm not worried about it. If they eat the leaves, whatever. I'm pretty much done with that. I'm tired of green beans. I've picked all the green beans I can pick. I've kind of hurt my back, stooping over, picking up beans. So So they can be in the green beans too, and I don't care at this point because I've got enough in the freezer. I've still got some left from last year, so. But they get in the squash, and they do damage some squash, and they get in here, and they've eaten some zucchini and some crookneck. So you do sacrifice a little bit, but that's I think 3 of the 4 new chickens right there in that little group of hens. And there's another proof. There's Theo, and he's just sitting there with the chickens, and again they don't care. Theo, one of them chased Theo around a little bit the other day, and Theo's the big tomcat, and yeah, there's no stress whatsoever. So it's pretty good. It's a pretty good relationship. And when the coop is open, again, the the cats are able to get in the pen and go after the mice, because when you have chickens, you're always going to have mice. And so, letting them out, I just leave the pen open, and the cats cruise through there, and hopefully are doing their job. I'm not sure how good of mousers they are, but I hope they're doing it. I've been seeing a little bit of increase in mouse activity, and I did have some in the house. So I want to make sure that this doesn't become an issue, again. So, yeah, we're going to have to make sure that these cats are trained up on their mice, and maybe I'll just lock them in the pen too, and that'll maybe do the trick. But they did cause a little bit of damage in my asparagus, but I caused it myself. This is where I put all the worm compost with from the worm bin, and it had a lot of worms in it and other bugs, and so I invited them in here just to kind of kick around and dig holes, and I think they probably damaged some of the crowns, but. Yeah, if they did, they did. Hopefully it's not too much damage, because again, asparagus takes a long time to mature. But if they damage a little bit, whatever. I do make sure they have water when they're out in the summer, particularly hotter days, and so I'll either leave a sprinkler kind of going, or I have a water container that the cats and the chickens kind of share, and make sure they're always hydrated. So, but yeah, this is a big benefit, because in Salt Lake, around my house, I've been having some black widow issues and bugs coming into my garage. And, you have to hire a company to come and spray, or you got to do it yourself. I'll spray the front of my house, but I will not spray the back along the foundation, because now I don't need to, because these chickens will eat those bugs. They'll eat those spiders, and they get right up against the house and against the foundation, and that's right where a spray would be. So I don't, I'm not going to poison or use any poisons back here where the food is being produced. So these chickens will be my little bit of my insect repellent there. But another problem with chickens is as they dig, they got into my second planting of potatoes. And I was thinking my second planting was going to be really small potatoes, just like new potatoes. But they uncovered some nice ones, as Willow's in the way again. But I'll show you this potato here. I took this to Salt Lake, and we had it with some Wagyu beef and mashed potatoes. And one potato was about enough for what we needed, a couple more. But yeah, they're not just small potatoes. There's some, the second planting are really good. So I've got to get these picked, because if the chickens uncover them, they're going to, the sunlight's not good, and they'll turn green. So I got to get in here and pick the second crop of everything that I've got. Now, something did bite into my banana squash. I had a couple of banana squash. They didn't do great, but they're not the biggest. But they'll get bigger in the future as I improve my fertility. But there's Willow, and again, they're really stressed out, and they're all enjoying this nice warm weather, and everybody's coexisting nicely. So anyway, chickens are great in the garden at certain times of the year, and this is the time. So thanks for watching this video. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you.